Welcome back to the StockTA Podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Steuer, and today we're diving into a company essentially building the future of physical AI, Realbotix, ticker XBOT. Please note this interview is being disseminated on behalf of the company. They aren't just building hardware, they are pioneering embodied AI, creating humanoid robots that don't just move, but think, see, and interact with the world in real time. With recent showcases at CES 2026 and a clear focus on the companionship and customer service markets, the company is at a major inflection point. To walk us through the vision and the roadmap, I'm joined by Realbotix CEO Andrew Kiguel. Andrew, it's a massive year for your company and the robotics sector. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Kevin.
So Andrew's going to share his screen, and we're going to hit on some of the highlights of what they have going on in the company right now.
So thanks for that introduction, and I'll walk you through a little bit, maybe with my background to start off. I was an investment banker for 20 years. Towards the end of my career, I got super fascinated with crypto, and my first entrepreneurial venture as a co-founder and CEO was a company called Hut 8 Mining. Hut 8 today has a multi-billion-dollar market cap. It's trading on the Nasdaq, and really the genesis of that idea in the early days was to provide Bitcoin exposure to investors. Today, it's morphed a little bit into an AI company plus crypto. With respect to this company, Realbotix, I saw something similar, which was getting in very early into something that I think is going to dominate business over the next 10 to 20 years. And I think robotics and AI agents is going to just be a massive market. We're taking an approach that's very different than everybody else. You can see here, reimagined for human-centric interaction. And we don't think that robots should be limited to just doing physical labor, which is what a lot of our peers are doing. We think that there's room for robots to interact and connect with humans. And in order for them to do that, they need to look more human. They need to have personalities. They need to be able to have facial expressions. We've been able to create robots that look extremely human. I'll play this video here in the background while I'll mute it, but you can see a little bit about what our robots look like. But we have the most realistic humanoid robots on the planet right now. We really believe in embodied AI, which means the robots can see and then interpret what they're seeing. So it's not just observational, but they can say, oh, I see a fire, I see theft, this person is happy or this person is sad. And we've had numerous real world activations. And my last point here is we manufacture everything in the US. Our offices and our facilities are all just outside Las Vegas hotel zone. One development here that I'll touch upon quickly, but we have struck a deal to move our robotics business to the Nasdaq. It'll continue to be controlled by XBOT, which is the existing parent company. More information can be found on our website and in this deck, which is available at realbotix.com. But I'm going to focus this presentation less on that and more on the business. Here's the robotic landscape, and this is a really interesting slide. You can see Aria, which is our main robot on the far left. Every other robot looks like a cyborg or sort of a plastic figure. None of them have facial expressions. And I would argue that none of them have the same level of AI integration that our robot has. And if you think about placing a robot in a mall, a school, a resort, maybe in a place for your parent is having issues, or a school, you don't want a robot that's going to scare people and doesn't have full AI integration. Things that we've done that nobody else has done. We've done live robot interviews on air. We did that on Fox. We put a robot in a mall that was able to process tickets, restaurant reservations, give you reviews, directions, time, again, customer service. We've had a robot at the Bitcoin conference last year. We were invited to go back this year, so we'll be doing that. We've done solo robot interviews with CNN and the Digital Social Hour, which is Sean Michael Kelly, huge podcast. Putting the robot there and letting it act autonomously in an interview. We've done store openings. We had a robot in Times Square. We had a huge influencer, Ashley Vance, come by our facility 2 weeks ago, and we put a robot in a car with him and they drove around Las Vegas. That was super cool. So what I would say is that there's a lot of sort of smoke and mirrors that you see on the internet with robots doing certain things. There's usually a human in the background of those robots telling it what to do. It's scripted, telling the robot what to say even. We are far more confident in our robot's ability to act autonomously. We put them for days. Like we had a robot in Times Square for a week. We had it at a mall for a week. We'll put it in a car and just let it operate on its own. Our peers haven't been able to match this level of autonomy in what I call urban places to the same extent that we have. We've gotten media coverage all over the world. Every time people see our robots, they're quite fascinated. We've been covered by pretty much every single newspaper magazine globally at some point. When we first showed our robots at CES, we got 4 billion media impressions plus thousands of articles and videos. YouTubers were getting not just hundreds of thousands of views, but millions of views. One guy got over 20 million views on an interview with our robots. We also have a really impressive set of patents and IP. So I list our patents here. The most significant is having a vision system integrated into the robotic eye. I think that'll be worth a lot of money. We also have a patent around the magnetic adjustable facial contour and method of assembling robots. And you can see in that picture there, we can peel the faces off of our robots. And you can press a button, put a different face on, a different wig, press a button, and you have an entirely different personality on that robot. It can be done in under a minute. And again, it's kind of this thesis of how we think about things, which is, again, very different than everybody else. I'll walk through some of the key aspects of our robots, and then that sort of will tell you. So we are an AI company and a robotics company. When we think about AI, we think AI can be grouped into something that is portable, meaning you can access it from different places. Similar to you accessing your TikTok account or your Instagram account, you can access it from different computers. We create AI agents. So these are meant for mass engagement. So this is customer service, doctors' offices, hospitals, retirement homes. We're talking to all of these, assisting with an aging population, elder care. And we can customize the appearance, the voice, and the knowledge base of these robots these AI agents, which are available. They're just talking the way we're talking. They emote, they can see you, you can see them. They speak over 100 languages, and you can access it on your phone, tablet, or robot. This is part of our recurring revenue stream. It's a much lower cost entry point. A lot of people that we know, and for example, retailers don't want that sort of text box at the bottom. But if you can pull it up and have a full conversation with an AI agent, that's huge value add. We also create AI for companionship. These are more customized for one-on-one. This AI has a memory. Again, people are trying to figure out how to create memory for AI. Well, we've done that already. The AI agents, in this case, the personal ones speak over 100 languages. Whatever language you speak to it answers you in that area. We have filtered and unfiltered options, meaning that you can make this more of a romantic partner. It can be more of a friend. It can be more of a mentor or a tutor. It's up to you. But there's a huge market there for people that need one-on-one assistance. Loneliness is a huge epidemic around the world. And this is a great assistive tool for people just to have somebody to talk to. So on the robot side, so again, that's the AI front. The AI is portable, it's customizable in looks, appearance, voice, knowledge base, and we fine tune that for people and they can carry it around with them on their phones, computers, anything. The second part of our business is we also create robots. I'll play this for us here as we sort of chat. I'll turn this down and you can see it. But we think robots, in order for them to have a real human engagement and connection, should look more human. And so we make robots that have the ability to smile, frown, do a bunch of things. This robot here has up to 43 degrees of freedom, movements that mirror natural human motion. And again, we can customize that. So we're getting actually calls from celebrity groups that want us to make robots of celebrities. We can really make a robot look like anyone. We can mirror the voice. We have great lip sync technology as well. And we have highly realistic skin technology. You can see from some of these videos how we can pull the robots apart and just how flexible we are in terms of building these and how they can talk and move. Modularity. This is a very cool thing, Kevin. Walking robots are a little bit of a misunderstood thing. A robot that walks gets very low battery life. In fact, most average around 20 to 30 minutes and then need several hours of charge. Most of those robots don't actually even have a vision system. We decide to create our robots like Lego, and so that they can be pulled apart and put in a suitcase and traveled with, but we also provide the option with our robots that you can plug them into the wall. So if you're looking for a receptionist or a customer service rep or someone that's going to work in a senior's home, a retirement home, or a school, you need that robot to be able to operate from beginning of the day to the end of the day, possibly weekends. So we build robots that work 24/7. We've decided to forego the walking, which in our viewpoint is a liability. You don't have approvals to do that versus a robot that can have a modular motorized wheelbase, or you can just plug it in to act as a receptionist. This simplifies maintenance and repair, reduces downtime again for a repair on another robot. If you needed to repair another robot, you need to pack the whole thing in a crate and ship it back. If something comes down or goes malfunctions on one of our robots, you just take that piece, send it back, and we send you that replacement part. Like Lego, you just snap everything back on, the robot's back up. Robot as a platform, this is another unique feature. So while we have our own AI that we talked about, which is sort of this companionship and customer AI agents, we can run any AI through our robots. So we think about robots a little bit like buying a phone. And you buy your Apple phone or your Samsung, you can download various apps and run various programs on it. Our robots are the same. You can run ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, Gemini, whatever it is that you want to run, all operate through a robot. And we have an app that allows you to log into your whatever your preferred AI is, tap a button, and then that AI will work through our robot, and you can speak to it and interact with that AI in any language. A lot of companies, for example, hospitality companies, casinos, and resorts have their own AI that you can use for things like ordering room service, booking a massage or a restaurant. We could actually channel all of those into a robot so that if a hotel or a casino wanted to have a robot there, you could walk up and say, hey, this is Kevin in room 1234. Can you send a hamburger and fries to my room? The robot's like, yeah, no problem. That'll be there in 30 minutes. And again, it can do that for you in any language. Vision system. We've developed one of the only true vision systems for a robot, and we display this. Nobody else has this stuff available. At CES, we had a robot with a vision system that could describe everything that's going on and tell you, is this person happy or sad? Is there a dangerous situation? Is there a fire somewhere that people need to be alerted to? So this allows us to create what is a true embedded AI solution. Other companies separate out the AI and the vision system, and a lot of them, it's just pre-programmed stuff for industrial use. Our robots can see, they can understand. The vision plugs into the AI, and it can be like, oh, this person's coming at me and waving. I'm going to smile and wave back. It's automated and it's programmed in. That is a massive, massive step forward for robotics. And we're one of the only companies in the world that has that. And we've patented that. Again, we have a monthly subscription. This allows you to update, run various apps, change the personality of your robots or your AI. On the enterprise side, that's about $200 a month. If you're just ordering the AI as a companion, it's a lot less. It's like $10 a month. So that's basically it. We have a few different models. We target different verticals, but I think overall, I've given you a clear picture of, what is the problem that we're solving? Well, companionship, having that someone there that knows you, has a memory. AI agents, we're talking to groups about, customizing things like HR and training programs where you can have conversations with the robots and the information and the training is always consistent. Or you could have a robot in a school, a retirement home, a hospital, a clothing store, a casino, basically anywhere where there's a human and there's processing involved, we can put our robots there to assist.
You just blew my mind. Like I read your slide deck, a couple of days ago while we're prepping for this, and I didn't really understand it. And now that you kind of filled in some of the blanks, I'm like, this is absolutely amazing. And like, I just can't believe.
And it's going to be a massive market. I mean, everyone's projecting that AI agents and robotics will be the largest sectors on the planet. You've heard about guys like Jensen Huang saying that this is going to revolutionize everything. And it is. We talk about valuation. So all of our private peers or some of our public ones in China all have multi-billion-dollar valuations. We have literally no competition in what we're doing, which is sort of this human-like customized robots that are run by AI. Our valuation is a fraction of where all of these other guys are trading. And I think that's largely because we're not known, we're still small and building our what we're doing. But every time we have influencers or people come by our facilities that have been to these facilities, they're like, okay, those guys are certainly ahead of you guys in terms of some of the manufacturing and processing, but they're like, your technology is better than theirs. Outside of the walking, they're like, everything else you guys do here is superior. They're like, we can't believe you have like a $50 million market cap and these guys are trading in the multi-billions.
That's crazy. I mean, the scalability of what you're trying to do and across the different industries, I mean, you could check unlimited boxes almost, like recession-proof stuff. Like your upside is very high.
And We've had some interesting validation. So our largest client to date is actually Ericsson, which is one of the largest companies in the world. So we announced that this year. But Ericsson, one of the largest companies in the world, has been now a client. We've delivered robots to them. And this was interesting. They initially hired us to use a robot as a product expert when they went to the Verizon head office. So we did this last September. We took a robot to the Ericsson head office. They had Verizon there, T-Mobile, all these people, and they had a robot there talking to people. They loved it so much that the next day they put in orders for robots. We're delivering another set of robots to them, or another robot to them this month with Vision System. And they launched their 6G initiative about 2 weeks ago globally. Like Ericsson's one of the largest companies in the world, top 20 largest companies in the world. They use the robot they brought from us as their key part of their marketing efforts to showcase the 6G launch, which is just faster internet, better encryption, all of these things. And everywhere you look, anywhere in the world, it's a picture of this robot dressed in the Ericsson gear talking about 6G.
That's crazy. Like that, you're like, it's bringing the future to right now. Like everything you see about in the sci-fi movies and all that different stuff is like, you guys are building it right now.
Yeah, we've done tons of like different things. Like we had a robot in Times Square for a week. So what you see there with in the clothing in the middle, that's a robot. And we just opened up the doors at the store. We were doing a grand opening for the store. So the robot knew sort of the inventory in the store, the layout. It knew where it was, like where if you want to get a coffee or food, whatever. And then we just opened up the doors and let it talk to people for a week in Times Square. Like you'll see some things like we saw, like right after we did that, we saw one of our peer robot companies have a robot in Times Square, but it was like a 2-hour planned event with a guy in the background telling the robot what to do. We left our robot there for a week. There was a security guard on the side just to make sure nobody did anything, but like we just let the AI and the robot do its thing. Nobody else is doing anything like that.
And you guys are on the OTC or Nasdaq, whatever your American listing is, you guys are trading at like 20 cents. That's absolutely insane. Yes. So I think now let's transition let's look at the chart real quick, because I can't believe kind of what you're saying to the valuation to what your chart looks like.
Sure.
So if you could stop sharing your screen quick, I will share my screen. All right. So let's look at the technicals real quick. So you guys are trading, closed yesterday just under 21 cents, and we're up almost at 50 cents in October. And was that right around when you had the conferences and that news release?
Yes.
Okay. So what do you think is kind of caused this sell-off? I mean, you guys have good news coming, positive news flow. Is it just people just not understanding what you're doing?
I think part of it is not understanding what we're doing. I think when you go back to November there, when we had the drop, we did a financing. And I think as part of that financing, there was some naked short selling that happened.
Okay.
As part of that transaction. I think, unfortunately, when you're looking, it wasn't a lot of money. We raised 7 million Canadian, but unfortunately, when you're looking to raise capital, there's a lot of financial engineering that happens there, especially in places like Canada where naked shorting is permitted. They came in and really just attacked our stock on the back of that financing. And if you look exactly the day we announced that financing is where you see that huge drop.
Okay.
Despite having a ton of good news since then, including announcing the ability to move our business to the Nasdaq, we just haven't been able to recover. And I don't know what it is. Like I said, generally it's, you want to have more buyers and sellers. We haven't been able to instill that confidence in people, despite the fact that we continue to sort of do these landmark, groundbreaking things with our robots and our AI.
Well, I mean, the chart, it looks like you're due for a bounce here. Like it's you can definitely see the short selling impacted you guys, but our algorithm has you back to neutral short term and overall, and you only have medium resistance at 0.26. So you have some overhead resistance, but it looks like you're trying to build some support. So I think this is an interesting setup, and I think that kind of transitions us into our next phase of the interview. I was going to ask you some of this you already answered, but I wanted to ask you some kind of questions that tie together what you talked about looking at the chart. I mean, you have a subscription model that you're rolling out and you just raise money. So how long do you think until you're sustainable cash flowing business? And if you don't have to raise again and avoid those people just naked short selling, obliterating your stock, I mean, you guys could go on a really nice run here.
Yeah, so we don't have a need for capital. We press released our numbers. So we're burning about, let's say in the top end, I think it was just over 400,000 a month, and we have about 8 million of cash. So we certainly have a good runway. I don't plan to retreat in this market. There's an opportunity here for us because we don't have competition right now to really take a leadership space. And that's what I want to do is in the AI agent space, in the companionship AI space, that's going to require things like investments into marketing, advertising. It's going to require hiring, people to assist us with that. On the robotics side, similarly, we continue to sell robots. In fact, I think we have about 15 to deliver this month, but I've not spent $1 on advertising or marketing yet. And so we're starting to look at like what are ways to enhance us from sort of selling sort of at these levels into getting our sales into the thousands. And so when you're trying to build a business as a CEO, there's a little bit of a balance that you have to weigh between, spending capital as an investment to generate sales versus trying to be conservative so you don't have to go back to the market. My hope is that I don't have to worry about having to go back to the market for a very long time. But I want to continue building this business. We're not going to retreat. And I think we need to start investing more into things like marketing, advertising to get our volumes up. But like all tech businesses, by the time we're sort of cash flow positive and turning a profit, it's probably a 2 to 3 year endeavor. Like, look, we live in the real world. We know where we're at. We all know robots are coming. We all know AI is here and evolving. But you're not going to wake up tomorrow and see a robot in every mall. In 5 years, you might. And we plan to be the leaders there.
I just think I don't understand the space super well, but some of the patents you have alone, just, you guys have multiple patents. You have multiple proof of concept. Like you're not a dream somewhere down, this is what we want to do. You've proven you can do it. You have the physical patents to it. Like the disconnect with the market here, I think is just unbelievable. Like I think there's such opportunity here. And I just, when you talked about the valuation in billions and then what you guys are at now, like I just can't believe it.
I just saw a company out of Europe raise $1 billion at a 3 billion pre. It was a startup. And their goal at the startup, now there were some notable people behind it, but the goal at the startup was to build AI agents that can be used in various functions that have a memory and faces. And that's what they plan to do. And I'm like, hey, we're already doing that. I had, did a similar call. There was a group call that the CEO of Figure AI did. Figure AI's got the highest valuation in the space, 40 billion. And they've started a side business with a multi-billion-dollar valuation, a startup to do AI agents. Again, they're like, we're working on memory. We're working on customizable, being able to customize it, all these different things. And I'm like, we already do that. We do the robot side and the AI side. And we unify them into a platform that is one of the only unified sort of end-to-end solutions for people available on the planet. And, like I said, our valuation is ridiculously low relative to where these guys are raising capital.
I would say the biggest risk with you guys isn't the execution risk, isn't the vision risk. Like you guys are doing some amazing stuff, but just at your market cap right now, like, are you worried somebody would come in and try to take you guys out because you guys are so far ahead of people who are way overvalued compared to what you have proven?
What I would say is I wouldn't say that I'm worried about it. I'd say I'm cognizant of it. I think there's definitely, I know that we're starting to get onto the radar of a lot of other people. Now, at the right price, that would make sense. If, if one of these companies came in and said, we're willing to pay $1.50 for your company, it's probably still an incredible deal for them. Relative to what multiple they'll be able to get on the other side. And maybe that's something that looks worthwhile to our investors. So I am cognizant of the fact that I think people are starting to circle around and sort of look at our valuation versus what we have and think about, would it make sense to somehow integrate us in some way? Okay.
No, this is an amazing story. And I'm grateful to have you on the podcast because I think my listeners are really going to enjoy this. So just my last kind of wrap it up question is, if we look at your chart 12 months from now, what do you think is kind of the biggest fundamental, the driver for the company right now? Is it partnerships? Is it your AI integration? Like, what do you think is the main driver here?
I think partnerships is going to be the main driver. We are in conversations with some of the largest companies in the world around utilizing our technology. There are thousands of AI companies out there. There's very few robot companies. And the fact that our robots can assume any AI through it, we can function with various AIs, I think is a huge advantage. Because again, if you are making software for robots and AI for anything and you want a robot, you got to come to us. You can't, I showed you the picture before. You can't go to the guys that have the metallic cyborg and say, hey, this is going to go in a hospital. So I think partnerships is big. I think, we're focusing on revenue. We're focusing on scaling. We've just took the keys to a new facility that we're fixing up, but we're moving into a new facility in April that's going to allow us to build faster and more efficiently.
This is a great story. Just as we wrap up, where can our listeners find more information about you guys?
Yeah, so we have two websites. Realbotix.com is where people can find out about the robots. So there's videos there, pricing. There's a brochure in there that gives you the specifications, things like how much do they weigh, how much do they cost. And then for investors, you can go to realbotix.ai. There's the same investor deck there that I just walked you through, plus information on shares outstanding and our regulatory filings as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. That's it for today. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button so you don't miss our next CEO Deep Dive. I'm Kevin Steuer. Thanks for joining us.